Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to Leadership Lab night number 1. We're so excited that you're joining us tonight. As you start to enter into the room, if you wouldn't mind just adding your school to your Zoom name across the screen so that we can kind of see where everybody's coming from. If you'd also like to drop it in the chat, you're more than welcome to. All righty. And then as we're also getting settled, we'll give people maybe one more minute or so to pop in. I see a Midwestern University from Maria. We see North Dakota. What is that, North Dakota? Oh, Notre Dame of Maryland University, South University. Wow, we've got places represented from all over the country. That's exciting. All righty, as we get going, we're going to start off tonight by just a little get to know you. If everybody could please just drop in the chat what they're most excited about in the year ahead. It's like I see an annual meeting. I'm very excited about that also. I see a mid-year meeting that's coming around right around the corner. Sharing ideas with other fellow chapters. I'm very excited for that tonight. Chapter growth. That's always a good goal to have and something to be excited about. All righty. Well, let's get going, y'all.
Get sarcasm.
Okay, so it's so good to get to know everybody a little bit. We'll continue to get to know each other throughout the night. But tonight's session will be led by me and my better half, Sean Kawa. I currently am serving as your APhA-ASP National President. I'm a final year student pharmacist at Union University in Jackson, Tennessee. And I'll let Sean introduce himself as well.
Thank you, Rachel. My name is Sean Kawa, and I'm a third-year student pharmacist from the University of Buffalo, serving as the APhA-ASP National President-elect.
Here along the other side is also for your reference, the student development staff at APhA and their contact information. These are going to be your contact people, including the two of us, throughout the year ahead. So as you have questions that come up throughout the year, always feel free to reach out to us. We love just chatting and getting to know one another. So never hesitate to reach out if you ever need anything. Okay, so we're going to dive straight into the goal of tonight, and that is to get to know one another better and really just bounce ideas off of one another and brainstorm. I do want to take a second to gauge who all we have in the room. So I'm going to ask first, if you are going to be coming in as your president-elect at your chapter, could you just raise your hand using the feature on Zoom? And then I'll ask the same thing for presidents in a few moments. All righty. Okay, now if you're going to be serving as president this year, can you raise your hand now? Awesome. So we've got a pretty good mix of both tonight. This is going to be really helpful because for individuals coming in as president, you likely or maybe not have had an elect year this past year. So your tidbits of wisdom are much appreciated on the call tonight. And then for president-elects, this is going to be a great time for you to ask questions and really just brainstorm. And then the both of you can work together for the year ahead. So I guess let's jump straight into brainstorming for tonight. If you want to just, whenever you hop on, share your name before you share, as well as whether you're going to be serving as president or president-elect. And we'll just get started with best practices for team management. So to kind of guide the conversation, just starting with communication, delegation, and boundaries. If y'all want to start with these things, or we can go wherever the conversation leads us. So would anybody like to share any best practices that they've seen, whether that be at your current APhA-ASP chapter or with a previous leadership position that you've held that have been successful in your role? Okay. I may need some help monitoring hand raises. Shayla, are you raising your hand to speak right now? Or was that for the president-elect question?
That was for the question. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, y'all are all good. Y'all can just popcorn around the room, honestly. Would anybody like to start us off?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So my name is Yaris Cortez. I'm from the University of Puerto Rico. I'm going to be this year's president, and I would say that what works best for me in just like delegation, for example, is doing a first meeting with my board and making them just like read out what their responsibilities are, and so that everybody gets to know what they are accountable for, and that everybody gets a sense of what each of them have the responsibility to do. And for communication, I would say always hear everybody out and then just try to meet in the middle, right?
Thank you for sharing. Definitely important to communicate those responsibilities up ahead of time. Who else would like to share?
Hi, my name is Janice. I'm the incoming president from the University of Florida. For boundaries, what we do is that we tend to host like one-on-one meetings with the executive board, and we kind of discuss like what leadership style they prefer and communication preferences. So if they prefer text, email, and I feel like that's a great way to send boundaries or set boundaries for the executive board before the year starts, because then you kind of have like a clear example of what you expect from everyone and what they expect from you. And it also provides them an opportunity to give feedback that you can like integrate within the school year before you start with your GBMs and all your chair events.
Thank you for sharing that, Janice. EJ, I see your hand up.
Hello, everyone. Excuse me, a lot of familiar faces. I met a lot of you at last weekend. But in terms of delegation, I think that it's important to get with your team and establish like a general goal. What do we want to accomplish? And then break that down into tangible action items in which you can assign team members to those action items. As president and president-elect, I think it's like important to set an example and do that maybe your first couple of meetings and get to the point to where you're assigning team members entire projects to where then they can go in and break those down by goals and action items and delegate tasks to committee members or other board members as necessary. So I think the big point was tangible action items, because if you just tell someone you're in charge of this, that's one thing than saying this is exactly what I expect from you based on what you've shown me or told me you're interested in.
EJ, can I put you on the spot right quick? Have you found any useful platforms or methods to kind of keep track of those projects throughout the year, to where everybody's communicating on platform, or have you found it more useful to have one-on-one conversations with those committee
A little
members?
bit of both. So what we do in the summer going up into the year, we have a kind of general planning meeting. If not for the entire semester, then for the entire year. That way we get like a ongoing calendar of all of our recurring events, and we can update it with when did it happen last year? When can we fit it into our schedule this year? And then we move, right? So we have this event coming up at this date. I will assign maybe um, my communications VP or my international VP on this event, right? And we break it into action items. This is what we need to get done from now to the event date. And say you're in charge of budgeting, you're in charge of calling a caterer, you're in charge of booking the reservation rooms. And by our next exec meeting or by whatever deadline we set, whether that be the weekend, a week from now, I'm expecting some type of communicative update, either via our main method of communication, which for us is Facebook Messenger, or if we have another meeting between then and then I would ask for an update then. So, but also just like being clear on when you expect said task to be finished or receive an update on said task is good too, because we all have our own things going on. So I know for me, if you don't give me a deadline, then I might just I might say, okay, we'll work on that later, or we'll get to it when we get to it.
Thank you. William, I see your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Rachel. Hi, everyone. My name is William. I'm from the University of California, Irvine, and I'm going to be the president-elect. I know it's not the president just yet, so I need to bow down before my superiors here. But based on my experience and leadership so far, I found that in terms of communication, it's best to it's really helpful to focus on rather than when there's a disagreement. And I know this probably falls under conflict resolution here, so I apologize. I might be going outside the boundaries here, but it's important to focus on maintaining that mindset that we're a team versus a situation rather than what the conflict is between. Let's just say I disagree with someone else on the same team. It's not me versus them, rather it's us versus the problem. So that really helps in terms of communication and focusing on that type of terminology as well, especially when we're communicating verbally. And in terms of delegation, I found it important to play by everyone's strengths instead of having someone who's really artistic do something that's really, let's just say they're really artistic but really bad at math. We make them do all the help in terms of finances. Like we're not going to do that. We're going to have them do things such as marketing and such like that, where they are able to thrive, and we're able to have those strengths shine for each of the teammates. And also in terms of boundaries, and delegation, it kind of mixes between the two of them. Being able to say, hey, if you guys need help, reach out. It doesn't matter if that's not my job, or so I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Be able to say and check in on each other and say, hey, are you doing okay? I can help you out. Or be able to say, have that safe open space and say, hey, I need help. Can someone help me out? I think that's really important in terms of team management.
Thank you, William. It truly was a mic drop moment. Ryan, I'm gonna let you speak, but after Ryan speaks, I did want people to kind of be thinking about something that William said. And Janice, I think you also mentioned it was communication styles and also strengths. So y'all kind of be marinating as Ryan is talking. But be thinking about the biggest challenge that you're gonna be facing as chapter leaders is how quickly the year ahead is coming at you. And so does anybody have good strategies to figure out people's communication styles and strengths quickly so that you can leverage on those throughout the year instead of waiting until in the moment to figure out everything? Like you're always going to be learning about each other, but just kind of be marinating on that. Ryan, I'll pass it over to you right now.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to add on again. This is Ryan from University of California, Irvine. I'm the president of chapter. So William's my upcoming successor, for next year for the position. I just want to quickly add on to the fact that in terms of delegation, I think the biggest elephant in the room is call report, and I just want to say like everyone should give an effort not utilize all three of these kind of perspective of communication, delegation, and boundary to ensure that things are getting done on time and you're trying to present your best of the chapter to the award standing committee that's going to be reviewing those reports. So I felt it takes a while, and sometimes like for chapters who might not be familiar with the process at first, it might be really like a panic situation. It's like, oh, we have like a 50-page thing that we need to write, right? I think we just it is important to plan early and to make sure to ensure that you're not doing all of it by yourself. You're delegating things to, like, let's just say your patient care VP for all the patient care part of the car report and such like that. And it definitely helped a lot, I guess from our last year's experience.
Thank you, Ryan. I definitely want you to pipe in with some advice from last year in a little while with the car report. Alrighty. Has anybody had a chance to think on the last question of ways and strategies that you found to pinpoint people's strengths and communication styles? I know at SLI we learned about the strengths finders. Yes. Vidika?
Hi, my name is Vidika. I am the upcoming president-elect for the Albany College of Pharmacy and Health Science chapter. Going back to your question, Rachel, about finding the strength and the best communication style, whenever we have like our first week of classes, we try to get a meeting with everyone, like a mandatory meeting where we'll discuss like the roles for everyone, and then we'll discuss the best communication methods, and then we also do the strength finder because we have a center of student success, and we have somebody from there come in and do the strength finder, and that way we can best understand everyone's strength and find a good communication method. And a lot of times it's been the Microsoft like Outlook calendar and emails. But yeah, that's been going well so far.
Caitlin, go ahead.
So for my chapter, my name is Caitlin. I'm from the Presbyterian College School of Pharmacy in Clinton, South Carolina. We're probably one of the smallest chapters in the nation, I would bet. We are only like 20 something active members right now because we are such a small school. So for us, what's helped is at the end of each academic year, we hold a membership retreat or a leadership retreat. And we do quizzes about our leadership styles and communication styles as to what works best for us. And that really helps us hit the ground running because we use that meeting to begin planning for this upcoming school year. And because of use of like email, we have a ESAC group chat that we've made. I've actually been able to hold a couple meetings this summer with my exec team to go ahead and work on getting stuff ready so we can hit the ground running for this year.
Thank you for sharing that. Vidika and Caitlin, y'all actually just led us perfectly into our next discussion point. Y'all really were hitting on the importance of creating a culture with your team and how to kind of maintain that. And that culture of your team is going to carry over into the culture of your chapter. And so let's take a few minutes as a group to brainstorm best practices for planning meetings, whether that is generating ideas for what to do at those meetings, promoting those meetings, and then also just implementing those meetings, because all 3 points of that are so vital to a successful meeting. So thank y'all for transitioning us so perfectly. Would anybody like to kickstart us? Let's start with different ideas that you have for chapter meetings. William.
Hi guys. Yeah, something that I found to be like probably the most important thing for planning meetings, in terms of promotion, especially, um, is incentive. So basically, why are we going to this meeting? If I were in the shoes of a member, why would I be going to this meeting? What's it for? Is going to be quote unquote a waste of time. At least is there going to be food there? So I think we need to play to like human nature a little bit, and have maybe at least food, some type of food there, so that people are coming and they're able to say, oh, you know what, like at least there will be food there, right? That type of thing. So something to get them in, to kind of reel them in, I think was really effective for our chapter in the last year. And it kind of creates like, instead of, oh, I'm going to a meeting, it's more like, oh, I'm going to go hang out and then I'm going to learn something and then get some information as well. So having that, I don't think there's any shame in it whatsoever. To be like, yeah, this is how we get them in. But it's they come for the food, but they stay for the culture, I think, is something that really worked last year.
Write it down. They come for the food, but they stay for the culture. I love that. Where the food is, the people are, for real. So any ways that you can, you know, fundraise to provide food, or at least provide even a discounted rate of food, whether that's buying a pizza and everybody pays $1 or $2, like any way that you can get student pharmacists who have the weight of student loans over them, oftentimes, a discounted meal to create that culture, like you were talking about, William. Spot on. I will go ahead and move forward to the next slide, and then we'll return back to this discussion, but I feel this is a good point to go ahead and plug this, because we were talking about creating the culture and it being a place to come and hang out and have fun and also get a little information. And so this year we're going to try a regional meetup on September 22nd. It's broken down by region. Regions 1 through 4 are at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and regions 5 through 8 are at 9 p.m. Eastern Time to work with everybody's time zones better. This is going to be a great time just to invite your chapter to log on. It'll be a fun time with drawings and then we'll have a short speaker, and then we will just hit announcements, and it really will just be kind of what William was talking about, a fun time where people can connect with one another and also get some information. So William, you set that up so perfectly. Thank you for that. So y'all mark your calendars and you'll get more information about this closer to time, but go ahead and start promoting it to your chapter members. This will be a really fun way to connect with people across the nation. So yeah, but I'll go back to this slide. Who else would like to share best practices that they've seen for brainstorming, promoting, and implementing meetings at their chapters? Verika.
So, I'm gonna talk specifically about our chapter, like the e-board meetings that we do. We like to do them in like a very UN uh type style where we have each chair sit together and then we'll go by each chair. We like, so what are some ideas you have? And then based on that, we'll just have like a discussion. So it turns out to be it's like a very fun discussion, but because it's in like a little UN setting with the way we set up our tables and stuff, it just ends up being fun. And then we get a little silly and then argumentative sometimes, but it's all just like for the jokes and stuff. But it's that way we connect with people and we also get a lot of ideas down, and then um some a different chair has better promotion ideas for one chair, and so that way it just works very well for us.
I love that. I love intentionally seating people around each other. Who else would like to share? We can go ahead and stick with the executive committee meeting. Let's kind of focus on that bubble, as Vidika was talking about, and then we can move to big chapter meetings if y'all would like. Anybody else have tips and tricks or have questions about how an executive committee meeting should run, what an agenda should include, anything like that? All righty. It's always good. I will just give this little tidbit here. It's always good to send out an agenda specifically for your executive committee meetings. It's good for people just to have an awareness, especially your officers, of who's responsible for reporting on what things, what that meeting is going to entail, how they can best prepare for it. And the sooner you can get that out, the better. But that's just a little tidbit of, oh, EJ, I see your hand.
Yeah, sorry. Our meetings, so we actually have a running doc that has all of our meeting minutes. So when we're starting another meeting, we basically copy the same template onto a new page. It's shared with our entire board. So all of the action items from the last meeting are on those meeting minutes from the last meeting. Everything that you're expected, all the updates that we asked to bring into the new meeting is there. And we also remind our chapter officers to update their meeting minutes before the start of the meeting. That way we can, if you look through, you can kind of read through the agenda and be able to summarize each kind of updates we can expect from each officer too. But I think that we like that it's all on one doc, so it never gets lost. We don't have to keep sending out a new form, and everything from the whole year is there. So whenever there's a question, oh, did we talk about this, or what did we talk about last week, or when was this meeting, when was our last update 3-4 weeks ago, it's all there, so it could be readily accessed.
I love that. Continuity of any kind as a chapter leader, anything that you can tangibly pass along to your next exec committee, to make their life easier and give them a good foundation to then focus their energy to build upon. That is wonderful. And I love that your exec committee can look back on what was done previously. Because I think I think all of our brains are fried to a certain extent. It's good to have those little refreshers and reminders. Would anybody else like to share about the executive committees? Otherwise, we can move along to chapter meetings and any fun ideas that y'all have for the year ahead for your chapter meetings. All righty, any takers? if not all good. But once again, these regional meetups are going to be a fantastic way, hopefully early enough in the year to where you can log on and maybe it'll give you some ideas of things you can implement at your chapters. I really encourage you and your exec committee and all of your chapter members to attend. Oh, EJ, is your hand raised again?
No, I'm sorry, I forgot to lower it.
Oh, no, you're all good. All righty, I will now pass it over to Sean.
Thank you, Rachel. So our next discussion point was foreshadowed a bit by Ryan. So thank you, Ryan, for talking about it in the beginning a little bit. We're going to go over chapter achievement reports, which is that annual documentation of your chapter's activities, but it's also a two-parter. We also want to know about good strategies that you guys may have about how to celebrate your student members, but also your other student leaders. So we'd like to hear some strategies now from people who have worked on the chapter achievement reports about how you prepared and completed those, and also ideas for celebration. Caitlin, I see your hands raised.
Yeah, so this year we made a huge Google sheet kind of based off of the previous template that we've had from years past where we list our event that we held, the date, whoever was there, how many pharmacists, that kind of stuff was there. Basically all the stuff that you would put in the card for each event that we have, we would put everything in there throughout the year. That way by the end of the year, whenever you are working on the card, everything's there and all it is copy and paste. It is super easy and time saving.
That's great. Great for sharing. Yeah, that proactive documentation is really going to come in handy by the time you get to the end of the year, trying to remember everything that your chapter had accomplished throughout the year. Does anybody else have any other strategies that they used throughout the past year that they'd like to share, either about chapter achievement reports or celebrating within their chapter?
To add to that last note, we also have like a Google Doc situation for every event that's held. The lead, whoever was assigned lead on said event or program or initiative, is in charge of filling out that Google Doc, and it basically has like all of the things necessary so that we could translate that into the car report. That was very easy for, or very convenient for me, being that I was the one that was actually doing the car report. So just kind of like assigning a lead to each event and making sure that they're actively filling out everything required post event so that it's all there.
Yeah, and collaboration is a major aspect of completing chapter achievement reports. It's not a one-person job by any means. Anyone who was involved on your leadership and helping creating this programming can help fill out a chapter achievement report. How about some ideas for how to celebrate chapter members or your fellow leaders throughout the year? Or Seth, if you had a comment on car reports as well.
I was gonna talk about the celebrating, so that was good. But I'm Seth. I'm from Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee. One thing we do beyond someone in the comments I know put like member of the month, but also we do an awards ceremony for like our last general body meeting, and that recognizes outside of just our leadership team, but it's specifically designed for just APHA members that are not in a leadership position. We keep track of how many patient care events they've participated in throughout the year, or how many opportunities they've been involved in to educate patients or get involved. And so we recognize members of the year for each specific cohort, as well as just kind of some unique awards like advocacy or patient care, which is just a really sweet moment to see everyone and get recognized for something, even if they're not a part of the leadership team.
Thank you, Seth. And I see, Janice, you have your hand raised as well.
Hi, so we also do member of the month. So we highlight them during our GBMs, and on our Instagram page, we'll have like a little post where they can speak about their experience with APhA-ASP. And we also like to have like chair of the month. So member of the month, I feel like it's more focused towards members who don't really have a leadership position within our ASP chapter, but we also like to highlight the chairs that are also working really hard to host events. So I feel like it's a good balance in highlighting, you know, both the like 1PD student or the P1 students and the P2 and P3 students.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. And like you were saying before, these members and these leaders are investing so much of their time and energy into our chapters. And so it's important that they get that recognition. Do we have any other comments on this discussion point here about car reports, celebrating at your chapter? All right, well, we can then transfer into the next and last discussion point that we have for you guys tonight. All right, we're going to be talking a little bit about time management. So this might relate to some of those principles of leadership that we were talking about before, and we touched upon some different strategies a little bit. But who can talk about some good strategies that they had used either in other leadership roles or within APHA, ASP leadership in the past that they like to share? And I see your hand, Vidika.
Yeah, my entire e-board swears by the Microsoft Outlook calendar and just the Outlook scheduling thing because our school works with Microsoft, but we all love it because we all can RSVP to a meeting, we can all RSVP to like a event and stuff. So we use that. And a lot of the members already have their class schedules pre-programmed on to the calendar so we can see like, oh, okay, this person's available at so and so time. And so it just works very easy for all of us to like collaborate that way. But yeah, that we all swear by this calendar.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point. I use that calendar too for all of my time management. On that note, does anybody else have other softwares that they'd like to share about, either for personal time management or for time management among their leaders within their chapter?
Kind of what Rachel mentioned in the chat right now. So for personal, I feel like Google Calendar is really good, but it's also good for like your executive board. Like if you have specific executive board meetings or retreats, you can make a joint Google Calendar and share it with them so that they can have it on their calendar just in case, you know, they're super busy and it kind of just like leaves their mind, but it's super helpful.
Hey, this is Maria from Midwestern University, and I loved all your ideas, and it's something that I utilize as well. Something different that we do at Midwestern is we have like a president's calendar. So all the clubs like share a Google Calendar with like all the presidents. So we have like all our events on there and everything. So we just like don't clash with other clubs if that makes sense. So I think that's like kind of really cool.
Thank you for sharing. And Byrell, I see your hand.
Hi, yeah, hello. My name is Byrell. I guess the incoming president-elect under Janice. I did want to share maybe something I think that was in terms of programming, I think that to me makes me feel supported in terms of time management is we have a very like detailed transition document where it's broken down like month by month what is the expectation for each of our roles, and that trickles down all the way from president to all of the committee chairs and things like that. And I think when I served as member like our first year member at large as well, to encourage people to maybe try leadership positions within uh our our chapter at the University of Florida. I think being able to tell them that like, hey, you know, there's a lot of room for you to flex your leadership development, but also you can also always just default to like, especially our big national patient care projects, like we have like standardized things that we do throughout the months. I think that's very helpful with like having people like empowering people to have that support going into a possibly hectic year and things like that. So I think like a strong transition document and like learning from those who come before is something to be leveraged.
Of course, yeah, that's a great way to hit the ground running. And how about some general practices for time management? Like, how do you guys determine what different responsibilities to prioritize over another? How do you approach that? How about some strategies there?
I'll just go ahead. Sorry, I didn't raise my hand, but I like to set deadlines for myself. So honestly, like just take a look at my Apple Calendar or something and just like put it in there and set those deadlines just so I can make sure I get it done probably sooner than later and not like stress myself out about it, or what's the word for it? Um it's not coming out of or like multitask, if that makes sense. Like just not leaving anything for last minute, even though sometimes I do. But yeah.
Thank you. And do we have any other comments on that particular point? How do you guys prioritize your different responsibilities? William, I see your hand again.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, to Maria's point, deadlines is probably the most important thing. It's whatever has the deadline first. That's probably intuitive to focus on that thing first. Also, in regards to how big the task is, let's just say it's something that you can get it done in like 5 minutes, rather than saying, oh, I'll do it later. If you could get it done in 5 minutes, just do it right away, because things can add up. But also, even if the deadline is super far away, but the project or the thing that you're trying to do takes a really long time and also has other factors, such as things that are outside of your control. Like, let's just say you're planning an event. It's not just you, it's also the venue as well. It's things that could go wrong that are factors that are not totally in your control. We have to consider extra time for that as well. So having a mix between deadlines and also how do you say, the size of the task as well. And in order to do that, it's more like thinking backwards in terms of consequences as well. Like, what if I don't get this done in time? What if I have to sacrifice something for something else? Because, our schedules are really hectic. What would the consequences be? Weigh the pros and cons of those and then assess accordingly.
Yeah, thank you, William. Different tasks might have different volumes of responsibilities, and so they can easily turn something into a marathon rather than a sprint that you'll have to break up over time. And Chloe, I see your hand up too.
Yeah, hi. I'm Chloe from the University of Iowa, president-elect. This just made me think like the most important thing when I'm trying to prioritize projects is delegation, and am I utilizing our full executive board? And so at our executive board meetings, we do a pretty good job of like checking in on what projects everyone's working on, make sure each task has a person who's responsible for it and designated, almost like person in charge of each thing. And then if one person's feeling really busy, but another person doesn't have a lot going on, like seeing how we can delegate that and deciding that before it all happens. So like talking it out and deciding what each person can handle, I think has been really helpful in not having any burnout amongst specific roles, but really sharing responsibility amongst the board.
That's a great point too. Thanks for bringing up delegation again. And I think it's easy for presidents and presidents-elect to feel as though they have to kind of be in charge of all things, especially if it's your first time stepping into that role. But delegation is incredibly important. You're a member of a team, and all of the members of that team are able to help ensure that your chapter's programming is successful. So lean on the other chapter leaders that you have available to you. We have any other discussion points or strategies that you guys may have regarding time management here? And I see that there are many different great ideas coming in the chat too, so make sure you check that out and take any ideas home with you there. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then we can head into the end of our session that we had for you guys here today. So what general questions do you guys have for Rachel and I now that we can answer for you as you step into the year ahead?
I have a great question. I think it's great, but how do you like keep everyone involved? Because I know like everyone is so busy with so many things going on. So how do you prevent like your board from like falling behind or like not having an interest? Like, how do you keep like a steady pace through it all?
Actually, well, Rachel and I would be happy to answer that. I'm curious to know if other chapter leaders in the room here have any suggestions for that question, if they've had success keeping other members engaged throughout the year and how they did that.
I think for our chapter, it's important to recognize that your members aren't going to be engaged the same throughout the entire year. We all have those classes that are harder than others. There's times that are harder than others. And I think proactively going about it and planning ahead as like, okay, October is a hard month for our student pharmacists. So let's try not to plan as many events then and maybe go more towards September or November, recognizing, okay, classes are harder than we need to account for that and kind of shift elsewhere. So we're still doing the same number of events, just planning around our student pharmacists.
One thing that helped with engagement for us is the committee members. So each committee, we had the chair basically reach out to members of the different cohorts to kind of pull them in and apply for committee positions. And those that applied but didn't necessarily get an official position were still brought in to kind of help with those committee processes and initiatives, even though they don't have official positions. They're still like a part of the the APHA community. So definitely just pulling people in, talking to them, giving them jobs, or not jobs, but tasks, small assignments, ways they could stay involved.
Thank you both. Does anyone else have any other recommendations? William?
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, to everyone's point, I just wanted to echo the same thing and probably just say the same thing in different words. Probably, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's if we create a sense of responsibility, they find whatever they do to be important. It's like it's almost natural. As soon as they feel like they have some sort of for lack of a better term, responsibility. And also, if things go wrong, that they had a hand in that, and therefore that the consequences would be also theirs to bear, along with the executive team. Anyone, regardless of position title, as EJ had mentioned, they will feel that sense of significance with whatever they're doing, whatever they're a part of. So I think that is probably a really important aspect in terms of mixing that sense of belonging, as Ryan mentioned in the chat, and also that sense of responsibility towards not only just the event, but the chapter itself.
Thank you, William. Any other final suggestions before we move on to any other questions?
Hi guys, Lejane here. Sorry, I'm just got back from the gym, so my camera's off, but progress. But one thing that is really helpful and I encourage everyone to do is to share national opportunities and regional opportunities with their chapter members. That is honestly, I think, transformed our chapter and just made everyone so excited because APHA has so much to offer from scholarships, rotational programs, and even student exchange programs. So truly just making them aware of the regional and national opportunities that there are will get them even more excited to kind of show up even, in those small chapter settings.
Thank you, Jane. And you raised a good point. The scope of APhA-ASP really is robust. And so ensuring that your members are aware of these opportunities on a regional or national or level 2 could ignite that excitement for them to pursue these opportunities available to them. And Gretchen, state opportunities too. Yeah, just making aware of the fact that there are all of these opportunities available for growth. Do we have any other questions generally as we finish out the Leadership Lab session this evening? Chloe, go ahead.
Hi, along the same lines of the like regional and national opportunities, I was going to ask if anyone had any suggestions for how to promote or drive interest in the MRM regional meeting. Just we are a big like football school. It's on a home football game, and so sometimes we struggle with participation. So I was wondering if anyone had any strategies for driving people to like a watch party.
So for UF, what we did this year was that we encouraged them to use it as kind of like a study period. Um, so we encouraged everyone to come to campus and during off times they can work on whatever they had going on because obviously everyone has their own classes going on, their own things, and it's also a Saturday and a Sunday. So we encourage them to just treat it as a study period, come with your friends. We also had giveaways. So we had little tickets that we provided to the students, and you can put in designated cups. And then we did a little raffle where we picked out one ticket from each cup and it'll be like a $20 gift card to yoga pod, or we just had like different prizes. I think we gave away a dot card also. So that's what we did to encourage students to participate. And we also had like a little breakfast. And then Sunday was mostly the legislative day. So that one was a little more like you had to be more present in that, obviously, when we were speaking about the any edits that we were making to that. But it was really helpful to kind of have that with the students because a lot of people are going to say, oh, I'm too busy, I have classes going on. But we had more participation because of that.
I would like to kindly add on to that. Last year for California folks, we had MRM basically during the same weekend as a state association, another state association's conference down in I believe it was in Palm Springs. And it was super, super difficult because everyone basically kind of went to that conference. So how we advertise it is that we made it because we had sponsor with this like we have like inter-school like watch party, and we had sponsored that enough to pay for all the schools that are involved with the watch parties like registration fee. So basically if we incentivize people to the fact like, oh, you know, it's a free conference. You know, if you don't want to pay or if you didn't choose to attend the other conference, here's the free one for you if you have a PHA membership. So that's kind of how we drove people, or like not really drove people away from that conference, but as serve as an alternative for people who didn't go to that conference and still available by not by like work or other thing or other duties on that day. So sure.
Thank you, Ryan. And Gabrielle, I see you have your hand up too.
Hi, yes, my name is Gabby. I'm from the University of Houston, and I just wanted to add on to that. So, what we tend to do for MRM is really target the incoming class. So, it's really early on in the year, so encouraging them to attend their first pharmacy conference and kind of posing it that way is really nice. And of course, everything that's been said before by Janice and Ryan, food, scholarships. We actually tend to get scholarships from the University of Houston to be able to host the watch party on campus, and we do get food. We have giveaways. It's a really great time for everybody who attends. 2 years ago, we actually did a collaboration with TSU, so that's also a really great way if you guys have another college of pharmacy that's in your same area. It'd be really great to reach out to their exec team and maybe do a joint watch party. We even got together the day before, I believe, at like a local bar, just to kind of have a meet and greet before the actual watch party.
All great points. Thank you, everyone. Really honing in on the value that MRM has to offer for students personally and professionally, but also bringing it back to incentives. I don't remember that catchphrase from before. Come for the food, stay for the culture. I mean, people will come for those incentives. Do we have any other comments on that question? All right. How about one more question on a different subject that any of you may
Can
have?
I add something, Sean, before we move on from
Oh,
that?
yeah.
A lot of great points were made about bringing people into the fold and giving a sense of belonging and finding ways to assign different tasks to individuals. And MRM watch parties are such a great way to do that. Every chapter who does a watch party should have an MRM liaison who is in contact with the different officers who are putting MRM on. And so assigning that role to somebody, especially a chapter member who, may have not ran for a chapter leadership position because they're just at a point in life where they cannot make a year-long commitment to a role. This is a great opportunity for them to have a focused time of the year to serve in a leadership role and have an event that they're able to focus on planning. So just a tidbit, if you're a chapter president, especially also if you want to come in person and on site to Washington, D.C., this is a great way to delegate and really equip a chapter member to plan and implement a watch party. So that's my little tidbit. Back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Rachel. Any other questions from you guys? All right, if there's nothing else, then we can move on to our final points that we have for you all tonight. So first and foremost, you guys are all leading off the series of Leadership Lab sessions that are going to be occurring throughout the next week, but we highly encourage you all to encourage your fellow chapter members to attend their own Leadership Lab sessions to make sure that every member of your leadership team is as prepared as they can be for the year ahead and that you can all really hit the ground running with some great tools that you would need to be effective. And like we were kind of just talking about the mid-year regional meeting, it's going to be coming up quicker than you think in November. So start thinking about how you may want to attend the MRM, either on site, on campus, or online. And we talked a little bit about the chapter achievement reports before. I'm going to highly encourage that you all go to the pharmacist.com website and navigate yourself to the awards section. That has all of the information that you can need about completing chapter achievement reports, and it can provide some invaluable resources on how to be best prepared alongside the tools that we all just learned here today. And also just for general questions you may have regarding APhA-ASP, going to pharmacist.com is going to have all of that information for you, contacts, everything like that. Highly recommended. And next, please scan this QR code if you can here, and this will bring you into a president and president-elect GroupMe that you guys can use to bounce ideas off of one another and strategies throughout the year and really just be a resource for one another. So we'll leave this here for a couple of seconds. You guys can scan it and make sure that you get in here. All right, we'll move on to the next slide. Again, we have our contact information for both Rachel and I, but also our student development staff, Crystal Atwell, Annette Plowden, and Parth Patel. We'd all be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have throughout the year ahead. And lastly, just a big thank you for all of you for taking the time out of your night tonight to come sit in and learn about these strategies and tips for the year ahead. We hope that you feel a bit more equipped and ready to go. And again, reach out to any of us, Rachel or I, or the student development staff for any questions. So thank you guys again for taking the time to be here tonight.
And the recording for tonight's session will be on the Chapter Officer Resources Hub on pharmacist.com. Thank y'all so much for coming.